I'm ready.
Ready.
Yeah,
Let's
let's
treat
start with the
the
disclaimer quickly, and we
yeah.
will start.
I first is daily market forecast does not provide personal investment or financial advice to individuals or active personal financial legal institution investment advisors, or individually advocate to purchase or sell any of the security investment to use particular financial strategy. All investing stocks, forecasts, and investment strategies include the risk of loss for some or even all of your capital before pursuing for financial strategies discussed on this website, on this presentation. You should always consult a licensed financial advisor. And so we just, in basic words, we're just showing you the algorithm capabilities, and none of those are advices to go and buy the stocks that you see here. And I think we are ready to start.
Yes, yes. Okay. So as mentioned, we have super interesting webinar today. We are going to talk about in the upcoming year. We are going to talk about 2025. And as said, we prepare several surprises for you guys. So I'm strongly suggesting to stay until the end of the webinar. I'm going to start with a quick introduction of I Know First, the technology, the team, and some forecast, some recent predictions from Friday, from the market that we had in Friday. So I Know First, we are an AI company. Our main solution is a predictive algorithm that identifies the most promising investment opportunities on a daily basis. We are utilizing artificial intelligence, more specifically deep learning, artificial neural networks, and genetic algorithms to predict the financial market. Our predictive algorithm is generating daily forecasts for over 13,500 assets from different asset classes: equities, ETFs, commodities, currencies, cryptocurrencies, indices with daily forecasts for multiple timeframes, short-term, mid-term, and also long-term. This is a global solution. We are covering over 50 global stock exchanges around the globe, including the stock exchanges in the US, Canada, Europe, Asia, and more, over 50 global stock exchanges. And if we jumping to a quick example from Friday, from the small caps package, we can see here, basically this is the under $10 package. We can see the stocks that the algorithm picked on Friday, and those stocks were sent to our clients before the market opening. We can see here several stocks. We can find here PGN, VTGN.
It's from the healthcare.
This is the healthcare package?
Yeah. No, it's the small caps, but it's a healthcare stocks, VTGN and PGN.
Yeah, and we can see the significant movement of those stocks. We are going to talk about the indicators that we see here later on. Ben is going to explain us how to read the prediction, how to read the indicators, and how to use the prediction on a daily basis and to optimize the daily forecast that you are receiving, basically. But I think those examples are really interesting in terms of the movement. Ben, tell us, what do we see here?
And we see the prediction of the algorithm for the sectors universe. Here we can find that the algorithm gave the XLY, the XLK, and XLC, put them in the head of the table, and they had the most potential to move up in this specific months. And we can see that XLY is actually moved up by 1%. XLK, the tech sector, by 0.77. XLC moved minus 0.56, but you have to compare it to the SPY, of course. The S&P actually went down this month by 84%. So both those three sectors actually outperformed the market. And that's what you should actually, you want to achieve in your portfolio. You always want to outperform the S&P 500, the benchmark. So in this case, the algorithm actually made a really good choice in the
So
sector level.
just a quick introduction to this slide. This forecast, we were sharing this forecast on the previous webinar on the beginning of December. And as Ben said, we can see that the sectors that the algorithm picked managed to outperform the market. And we are going to do the very same thing today by the end of this webinar. Right, Ben?
Yeah, we're going to see the level 1, level 2 forecast, the best sector and the subsectors for the following month. So stay tuned till the end of this webinar and we see what the algorithm thinks about the market.
Okay. So a little bit about the team. The INO-FIRST predictive algorithm was developed by the INO-FIRST R&D team that's being led by Dr. Lipa Reutemann, one of the leading experts in the field of artificial intelligence, chaos theory, and machine learning, with over 20 years of experience from the Weizmann Institute of Science. Dr. Reutemann is leading our R&D team that basically includes people with the background of math, statistics, PhDs, math professor from the Tel Aviv University, people with the background of data science, computer science, math, physics, and IDF veterans. Ben Rubin, that is going to lead the webinar today, is the head of our advisory team. Ben used to work for Bank Hapoalim as a senior investment advisor. My name is Yaron Golger. I'm the co-founder and the CEO of INO-FIRST. I'm also the chairman of the Israeli Export Institute FinTech Board. I'm lecturing in the Weizmann University. I'm an engineer with an MBA. Let's continue. The INO-FIRST predictive algorithm is being trusted by the world's leading hedge funds, investment houses, banks, family offices, as well as high net worth individuals and retail clients from all over the world. In this list, you can find several hedge funds, leading hedge funds, several banks, and also investment houses. With two of them, we have launched the first AI-powered mutual fund in Israel with Meitav Investment House. And this product is being listed in the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange. And we are in the process of doing that with additional investment houses from all over the world. The solution that you're about to see has received several international awards from different entities: UBS, Entity Data in Japan, the Geneva Wealth Tech Forum. And we are, yes, here you can see several awards, and also
it's you with your old friend, huh?
Yes, my old friend. I see him in the crowd today, so I'm really happy. And we are really happy to receive those awards and to participate with and to cooperate with different members in the ecosystem. We are also really proud to lecture at the Weizmann University for the third year already. We are talking about artificial intelligence, fintech, and more. Let's continue. And in the website, you can find also different articles and TV reports about the predictive algorithm. Feel free to go over the media section in a website. In the website, you can also go over different client reviews that can assist you to identify the best package for you guys. Ben, you want to talk about the WhatsApp group?
Yeah, if some of you haven't joined our WhatsApp group, so you should do it now. By scanning the barcode on your screen, you will join our interesting group. And in the end of the webinar, we're gonna put the forecast of the Magnificent Seven for the next 2 weeks. So you get a forecast for free. So join the group. We are adding there a lot of AI articles, a lot of forecasts, and a lot of community ideas that I found very interesting. So feel free to join our group. We'll be happy to see you there. And just scan this barcode.
You can scan the code. I also place the link to the group if it's easier for you guys. So what do we do? Basically, we are offering two solutions to our client. On one end, it's possible to use the predictive algorithm in order to identify opportunities on a daily basis in the market that is relevant to you. Basically, we are sending daily forecasts with the best opportunities for the different timeframes that we're going to see later on. On top of that, we have also developed the second tier of our solution, when we basically converting the daily forecast into a portfolio. And based on that, we have developed several systematic trading strategies that been converted into a financial product. Right now, we are doing it in Israel, and we are planning to do it in additional regions across the globe. The INO-FIRST predictive algorithm includes three components. By using the first component, it's possible to identify the most promising investment opportunities on a daily basis. Basically, you are defining the market that is relevant for you, let's say the US market, and you can define the specific investment universe that is relevant for you. It could be small caps, it could be the S&P 500 universe. And from that point, on a daily basis, you are receiving the best opportunities to your email before each market opening. On top of that, there is a second component that we are going to see in this webinar today. By using the second component, it's possible to receive on a daily basis stock market intelligence, to identify leading sectors, to identify leading indices, to identify leading regions across the globe, and also sectors and regions that we should avoid. And the third component is providing us a customized forecast based on each client portfolio. And by combining those three solutions, it's possible to optimize basically the investment process and the portfolio on a daily basis. So how we do it? So the algorithm is relying on quantitative data sets that coming from the entire financial market, not just from the equity side. We are utilizing information and data sets that coming from the interest rate environment. We are utilizing information that's coming from the commodities market, the currencies market, the cryptocurrencies market, and also more than 50 global stock exchanges. We are combining this entire universe to our database. We are managing database with historical data, and around the clock, the algorithm is learning from the new data that's coming all the time from the market, learning from the historical data, and also from the combined data. And by using our technology, we are building the complex network that exists in the financial market. There are thousands of correlation sets in the market, and this network, or this complex network, is being built on a daily basis without any human intervention. Before each trading day, the algorithm is generating the most updated forecast with the best opportunities for the short term, mid-term, and also the long term. We can see the time frames right here. Of course, the algorithm is also learning from each forecast, from each successful forecast, and also from each failure, and this is part of the input that's being used on a daily basis. In terms of the technology, we are combining different AI technologies into one machine learning algorithm. We are utilizing artificial neural networks. We are utilizing genetic algorithms, supervised and reinforcement learning. And the main idea is basically to separate and to focus on the most predictable assets on a daily basis. So every day, the AI algorithm, if we're taking the S&P 500 universe as an example, on a daily basis, the algorithm is separating the unpredictable part of the S&P 500 and focusing on the most predictable assets from the S&P 500. So this process is being done on a daily basis for each investment universe. So we are doing the very same process for the Russell 1000, Russell 2000, S&P 500, or any investment universe across the world, or any market across the world. The idea is to separate and to focus on the most predictable assets. And we are going to show you in this webinar how you can do it as well by using the predictions on a daily basis. So if we take in the US market as an example, the stock picking process, we are basically screening the entire US market. We are applying our technology. We are focusing on the most predictable assets, and then we are creating rankings based on the expected upside of each asset. And you are receiving the bottom line of this process, the best or the top stock picks for the different time frames, short-term, mid-term, and also long-term. And this is being generated on a daily basis. So every day before the market opening, you are receiving the top stock picks for the upcoming different time frames. Okay,
all right, so yeah, let's see how to read the forecast and how it looks like. Here we can see the forecast is coming in the shape of a heat map. The green cells represent long position, while the red one represents short position or sell positions. We can see that in each and every cell, we have the symbol of the stock, and we are using two indicators to focus on the best stocks. One of the indicators is the signal, which is in the middle of the square. In this case, it's at 249.6. The signal actually represents the predicted movement of the asset or the potential movement of the assets. It's kind of a price deviation of each and every asset. It's our internal index, and it helps us to rank the entire investment universe from the best stocks with the strongest signal that's located on the top left of the table, and going down to the right until the bottom right symbol that we can see here, it's CORT, which has the strongest signal for going down or shorting. So the signal is actually help us to rank the entire investment universe, and that's how we know to focus on the best stocks. The other indicator is the predictability indicator, which is located on the bottom left of each and every square. And this specific indicator help us to find out how good the algorithm can predict the specific asset. We are using Pearson correlation measurements, and it moves from -1 to 1. 0 represents 50% probability that the asset will move to the predicted direction. 1 represents 100%. So basically, for those two indicators, we're looking for the higher values. The higher, the better. And we're actually suggesting giving more weight to the predictability indicator. We found it by our statistic that it's a little bit more important than the signal, and it has you have to give it the predictability a little bit more weight than the signal. And we're going to talk about it during this webinar, how exactly we're going to use those two indicators. So after signing in, you will get the forecast. As you can see here, you can have 6 time frames. Every day you will get to your mail before the trading start, and to see what's going on in the market, which stocks are the best for each and every time frame, if it's for the 3 days, 7 days, 14 days, or the longer time frame of 1 month, 3 months, and 1 year. And here we can find the best 10 stocks for the next 7 days that the algorithm finds from the entire US market, for example. And we have some stocks here to short or to sell if we're holding it in our portfolio. So this is how the forecast actually looks like, and you get it to your mail on a daily basis. And let's jump to some few examples from the last few days. Here we can find a forecast of a 3-day forecast that was generated on January 2nd, that you can see here the date, 2025 for the new year. And the algorithm actually gave us the best 10 stocks to invest in these 3 days, or to hold in these 3 days. It actually suggests us to buy the stocks at the opening, or as much as closer to the closing price of the previous day. In this example, we can find stocks such as FFIE that related to the consumer cycle sector, or we can find the ONDS, which is related to the communication sector, or RGTY, which I guess some of you already know, even if not, you should know, that related to the quantum sector that we're going to talk about later on. A really interesting stock. But to the right, we can find the performance of those 10 stocks in those 3 days. And in the bottom of this forecast, we can find the average of those 10 stocks and compared to the S&P 500 universe that we can find in the bottom of this forecast. We have some volatile stocks here, such as STEM, and the utility company that actually performed more than 100% in those 3 days. And if we're jumping to the 7 days time frame, this is also a forecast that was generated on 26th of December. We can find the best stocks to be in for the next week. And in this universe, you can find another quantum stock, UBTS, RGTI again, ONDS, and a lot of stocks that actually outperform the market. And not all the stocks are going to the right direction. Some of their stocks are going to the wrong direction. As we can find here, the small x's means that the algorithm didn't has a correct forecast for this specific asset, but we can find that the majority of the stocks made some really interesting performance, such as, again, RGTI, 76% in 7 days, and the quantum momentum here was actually pretty good. And we can actually, the algorithm saw that the quantum trend at the beginning of it, and we're going to see it later on. But we can find a variety of stocks from different sectors that the algorithm thinks and believes that going to outperform the market in those 7 days. Same goes with 14 days. And again, you get all the time frames to your mail, and you can see and find and focus on the time frame that you're interested in, if it's the shorter time frames or the longer time frames. In the 1 month, for example, we can see that the signals are getting stronger and being stronger and stronger as we're going up the longer time frames, and also the predictability indicators that we can find here on the bottom left of each and every stock are also getting higher and higher. That's why we are generally advising focusing on the longer time frames of, for example, 1 month, 3 months, and 1 year, and pick the stocks from the longer time frames that has high predictability values and high signals. Here we can find some interesting some stocks, for example, WSM. The WSM is actually from the home builders universe, and it went up by 9%. And if you check XHB, that's the sector that which is belonged to, you can see that actually the sector went down by 8% this month. So the stocks actually moved up against the sector, against the trend of the stock universe which is belonged to. So it's really interesting to see. We can find stocks such as Real that we can see here that has a really high volume, a high signal. We can find it here. The signal here is 10.22, the highest signal in the package. And the predictability is 0.48. It's not the highest, but it's pretty okay for the 1 month. And we can see that Real, this stock has jumped by 67% in a 1 month time frame. And all of that happened while the S&P went down by 2.72%. The average of this forecast went up by 8%, while the S&P moved down by 2.7%. And I think you already understand the value of such a forecast. For the longer time frames of 3 months, which I really like, we can find stocks, for example, as Plantier, which on October 3rd, the algorithm gave a strong recommendation for this specific stock, and it's outperforming the market with 72% PTON as well. PayPal, SIM, the ARC ETF also is in this specific universe. We can see Royal Caribbean and other stocks from this universe that actually outperform the market in a really big measures. We can see 35% compared to the 4% movement of the S&P in this specific time frame from the beginning of October up until now.
It's really interesting, as you said, to see here that the algorithm picked both Royal Caribbean and also Carnival here, two cruising companies, as well as PLTR, as you mentioned, Square, SQ, you know, before the recent jump in the Bitcoin price. We're talking about 3 months ago, right? Talking about the beginning of October. So very interesting prediction. By the way, we see here Royal Caribbean, we see CCL, and we see also ZIM, right? ZM.
Yeah. A lot of cruising companies.
Interesting.
Some industrial, some not, but not just that. You think that the algorithm actually find the Palantir on October 3rd? No, it's actually went back to January 2024, the beginning of the year. The algorithm in the 1-year time frame actually marked Palantir as one of the best stocks for this year. And we can see the staggering 289% performance in 1 year. We can also find the Google and the BSNL, which led this forecast with the highest signal. But you can see here the signals are pretty high, and the predictability is also high. So that's why we are again suggesting focusing on the highest on the longer time frames of 1 month, 3 months, and 1 year. Pick the stocks from these time frames, and then maybe even try to find them in the shorter time frame. And if it appears in multiple time frame, it's even better. So do that while you're choosing your stocks from the forecast. And in the same way, we are generating forecasts for the ETF universe in the US. As well here, we can find the best ETF that the algorithm suggests to hold for a period of 3 days and 1 year. And again, you get the 6 time frames, of course. Here we can see a lot of ETFs from different universe. If it's the Russell, and if it's the USO, we can see the leverage in Nasdaq here, TQQQ, and in the 1 year again, you can find the home builders, the tech sector, the financial sector, that also was suggested by the algorithm to hold for the period of 1 year from January 5th, 2024.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the most interesting thing about this predictive algorithm is that it's not only generating opportunities for long positions. On a daily basis, the algorithm is providing also opportunities to short sell. And you can use this in order to manage your risk, and I'm going to show you how. On a daily basis, the top 10, top 20, and top 5 packages include opportunities for long, but also daily forecast for the S&P 500 index. And there are some situations like we saw in the recent months, during December, we started to see in some days, and even for quite a long time, we started to see negative prediction for the S&P 500. And in those cases, it's better to avoid the market or to focus on the stocks that we should short sell. Ben is going to highlight this example later on, but here in these slides, we can see examples also from 2023, from March 2023 on the left side, while we started to see negative prediction for the S&P 500, and most of the stocks that had negative signals, we can see that the strongest signals came from the bottom of the table. And we can see here several stocks that are coming from the banking industry. First Republic Bank and also Silicon Valley Bank, SIVB. Actually, it came before the banking crisis that affected the entire market. As we can see here, the S&P dropped by more than 3% over those 3 days. And in the very same way, we can see an example from the end of February 2020. Again, the S&P prediction was negative during this time, and the strongest signals came from the bottom of the table. Now, it can assist you to avoid the market first, during those periods, or if you have the capabilities, you can also short those stocks. So on a daily basis, you are going to receive stocks to buy, but also daily focus for the S&P and stocks to short sell or to avoid. And you can use those indicators in order to manage your risk on a daily basis.
Yeah, and we saw some good example for this short position or short opportunities. Actually, last month on December 18, we saw the market drop almost 4% in a few days. I guess that all of you felt that through the trading day. So we can see that the algorithm is also, as Yaron said, is providing a stock market intelligence, and we can actually saw in this specific day, we have a meeting with some of the hedge funds that we are providing the forecast to, and this is what we saw in different levels. If we're checking the S&P 500 universe, we saw it almost completely red, and again, we are getting the forecast before the trading day, of course. So we saw a completely red forecast. Also find the VIX, I guess most of you know this index that is in the leading spot of the forecast of the 3 days, which means that the volatility is supposed to get higher and higher. We saw the S&P itself in the red side of the table, and of course in the level 1 in the sectors also saw a really red picture. So we gave this hedge fund a heads up that some volatility should be happening today and in the following days, and that's actually saved them quite a lot of money. So the algorithm also have the ability to forecast and see some volatility that is coming in the shorter time frames or the longer time frames. This is just a quick example from that day, 18th of December 2024. So let's see some examples, live examples from actually Friday, and from different forecast packages that we have. SOX, the semiconductor package, which looks pretty good right now, actually, the sector itself. And if you would open the forecast on the January 3rd, this is what you would get. You actually get 10 stocks, but I cut them off and just to give you the best 3 stocks with the leading signals here. And we find the AMD, NVDA, and AMKR was leading this forecast, and we can find the results and the performance of those stocks in that day only, in just 1 day, which looks pretty impressive. And in the same way, we have the top 20 package. The top 20 package, actually, in this package, the algorithm picks the best stock out of the entire US market. And we are focusing on stocks that have 2 billion. Sorry, I lost the word. Stock companies that have more than 2 billion worth. So we can find in this specific package stocks as Urban, TARS, Shopify, TWLO, and DEC, and we can see the performance on that specific day. In this specific package, you will also get a daily forecast for the S&P 500 index itself. So rather than 10 stocks that you will have, or in this specific package, 20 stocks, you'll get also a forecast for the S&P 500 index itself. And it's nice to see this performance of those specific stock in a one day. And the small cap universe that we saw earlier in the beginning of the webinar, PGEN, VTGN, and SLQT that moved pretty good in the first day of this forecast. It's a 3 days forecast, I remind you, and we can see that performance already in the first day is pretty amazing. And also the MAG package, if you are looking for the Magnificent 7, or in this case, we have Magnificent 8. We have 8 stock. We added Netflix as well to those Magnificent 7. And here we can find that Tesla with the strongest signal actually jumped by 8%. You can find NVIDIA as well, Microsoft and Google leading the Mag 7 universe. And we will also providing this specific package. And again, as I said earlier, we're going to see the next 2-week forecast of the Mag 7 in the WhatsApp group. So join the WhatsApp group. I'm going to show the barcode again in the end of the webinar. You can join or in the chat, and you'll see the forecast for the next 2 weeks of the Mag 7.
By the way, it's interesting to see that in accordance with the signal, Tesla had the highest movement, or the strongest movement based on this forecast. It's not always the case, but we saw also in the examples that Ben shared before that sometimes there is a correlation between the signal strength and the expected movement of the specific stock.
It's true. Another example from the last webinar, actually, we gave that as an example in the 29th of November. It was the 1st of December. The forecast is from 29th of November. And we show you this forecast and the performance of those stocks in that day. But I actually sum up the entire month of this specific forecast. And although all the volatility that we have in December, we are still seeing that Tesla actually made 21%, speaking about Tesla. The BBWI actually moved by 4.7, while TPR jumped by 7.8. And I remind you, in December, the S&P actually went down. So we can see some stocks that moved in a really significant way, while the benchmark itself actually went down. And let's see some stocks, and I want to talk about a little bit of the algorithm and its timing while it's sending you the forecast, and when it sent the forecast. And here we can find, for example, RGTI, the quantum stock that everybody talks about, really popular in these days. All this quantum universe, we're going to talk about it in a few more slides. Looks really interesting. The algorithm gave the prediction, this prediction actually, on the 19th of December 2024, a 14 days prediction. And look what happened in those 14 days. Actually, the stock went down in the previous day, but the algorithm gave a pretty strong signal, a pretty good predictability to this stock for the 14 time frame. And actually, the stocks went up by 87%. In the same way, URBN, Urban, the clothing company outfitters, actually we can find that the algorithm gave the specific forecast on the beginning of December, a 1 month prediction And although it actually went up a few days before, and a lot of clients ask us those questions, what if a stock went up? It's still good to buy it. You can ask the same question about the stocks as Palantir and Nvidia that went up the entire year, I think, most of the year. So the algorithm every day calculate the potential movement that these specific stocks have, and if it sees the potential is still up, it will give a positive forecast for these specific stocks. So here we can find in URBN for the next month, the algorithm gave a positive prediction, and the stock went up by almost 17%. And I remind you, it was in December. It was a kind of volatile month, and still the stock succeeded to make almost 70%. And PLTR, again, we talked about it earlier, and we saw the forecast from the October 3rd. And before that, we can see that the stock didn't really move that much. And then the algorithm provided this specific forecast for 3 months forecast, and the Palantir jumped more than 72% in those 3 months. It's really good to see and interesting to see the timing of the algorithm and the timing that it provides the forecasts. It's pretty amazing. In this example, I think it's emphasized it's pretty good. And let's talk about January and the next month that we entered a brand new year that started pretty good. We saw some green screens on the last Friday. But if we are looking at the statistics for the S&P 500 index, we can find that the average performance of the S&P basically in the beginning of the year is pretty good. You can see 1.16 here. And we have and it has been positive 60%, 62% of the time since 1928. So January looks like a positive month to be in the markets. And usually they say that the first few days of the month of January actually says what's going to happen in the rest of the year. So interesting to see what's going to happen in the next few days. But right now it looks pretty good. So if we are looking at the statistics, January looks like a positive and a good month to be in the markets. All right, so some of you mentioned, I think most of the stocks that you mentioned in the beginning of the webinar are in this specific package. To whom of you doesn't know, we have generated the Buzz stock package. I think it's a pretty amazing package. It actually holds all the stocks that everybody talks about, that in the news, in the social media, really popular stocks. We have the Magnificent Seven there. For example, we have Qualcomm, Salesforce, Caterpillar, AVGO, really every stock that everybody talks about or you heard that has some big movement in the last few months is in this package. SMCI, for example, PLTR, and of course all the big stocks that we know. Visa, you can see the list here. More than 70 stocks that are in this specific package. We can find all the stocks here. Of course, MicroStrategy as well, the Bitcoin related company, FedEx, Pfizer, Uber, a lot of stocks, interesting stocks that made a lot of buzz in the markets in the last few months. That actually related to the Buzz ETF. So the algorithm is actually scanning this universe and give us the best stocks out of the Buzz universe. And we can see some examples for those Buzz forecasts. You can see stocks such as SMCI that was in the head of this forecast that generated on the 25th of November. We can find the Tesla and AFRM, which is really interesting stocks as well now. We can find Palantir and Coin and Lumen and Intel. And of course, we also added the Bitcoin itself. You'll get a forecast on the Bitcoin itself, silver and gold as well, the commodities that actually performed well in 2024. So this specific forecast, it holds all the stocks that we talk about. Sophie, that you already mentioned in the comments, is also in this package. It's really interesting package. I think it's can provide a lot of interesting stocks that actually have a lot of buzz and a lot of momentum. But again, some of those stocks are pretty volatile, so you have to take that into consideration. Also in the longer time frame of 1 month, we can see in the beginning of November or mid-November, we can see some recommendation about MSTR, Tesla, Bitcoin. Again, really interesting stocks that made a really big movement in the last few months. And we can hear about them a lot in the news or in the social media. And if we would look at the Friday forecast of the buzz, this is what our actually clients got on Friday. Those three stocks led the buzz forecast. We can see CELH jumped by almost 6%. Uber and Nvidia, those three, of course, they get the 10 stock, but I can't give you everything here. So I'm just giving you the best stocks that the algorithm gave on Friday with the strongest signal. We also checked the predictability, which is pretty good. So those three stocks actually performed really nicely in the first day of this specific forecast. And another hot trend that in the market right now is the quantum stocks that some of you already mentioned. This market is being projected to reach the 125 billion by 2030. We have a lot of stocks that are in this universe and actually finding and using quantum technology. We're seeing Google, we're seeing IBM, of course, RGTI that we talked about earlier, and a lot of stocks from this specific universe. So we made a special package for the quantum stocks, and you can find all the stocks that are related or using quantum technology in if it's communication, if it's tech, if it's chips, semiconductors, everything that's related to the quantum universe. We generated a special package that the algorithm actually gives the forecast on a daily basis to those stocks, more than 50 quantum stocks that you can find in this specific list. I find it really interesting package, although the quantum universe can be a little bit volatile, and some of you it could not fit to all of you. I guess some of you are want to avoid this volatility because those stocks is in a really hard trend right now and can move in a vast way from 10 to 20% a day. But if some of you are willing to take this risk and love this specific quantum sector, we can provide a really interesting package that gives you the best stocks to be in the quantum stock package, and you can buy it in one of our webinar sales that I'm going to mention in a few more slides.
So every day, basically, the First AI algorithm is screening the entire quantum universe and creating the very same ranking that we have seen before, identifying the best opportunities from this specific universe. Basically, we took the QTUM universe, the entire universe, and we are drilling down into this universe. We are training our predictive algorithm based on this universe and identifying the best opportunities across this universe for the different time frames, long-term, mid-term, and also short-term. And as Ben mentioned, there are very interesting opportunities right now from this universe.
Exactly, and if you just look at the quantum ETF that holds those stocks in the last year, in the 2024, that you can see that he actually performed 60% 2024. So it's interesting to see. It's a really in a good momentum right now, all the quantum stocks. So you can actually consider adding that to your portfolio, maybe in a small amount, because of the volatility and the high volatility that those stocks actually have most of the time, but it still looks really, really interesting universe. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
Report. The 2025 report topics of the AI, one of my favorite products that we are generating on a daily, on a yearly actually basis. This report actually holds everything you need to hold in your portfolio in 2025. You just buy it and hold it for the entire year. It's the 4th year of this specific product, and the results are pretty amazing. I'm gonna go through some of the results that we had in the last year report, the 2024. So this specific report holds the best stocks from each and every sector. If it's the tech sector, energy, consumer, home builders, we are actually looking the best stocks from each and every sectors. We provide you also the sector themselves, the best sectors to hold for 2025, the best ETF, the best cryptocurrency, the best commodities, currencies, everything you can trade actually in the market will provide in this report. And it's a one-time report. You just buy those stocks or those assets and hold them for the entire year. And last year we can find, can see here the last year report and see the performance of this report. So we can find stocks such as WSM, which moved 92%, or stocks from the XLY universe, if it's Google, TRMB, COF. We can find the BLK, for example, here from the Russell 1000, NVIDIA, that moved 155%. The semiconductors universe, we can find here the indices and the best ETF to hold. And this report is actually amazing. We can find everything we need in our portfolio for the following year in one report that the algorithm and our team is providing you for the next year, the best topics for the next year. And here we can find, for example, also from the cryptocurrency universe, Bitcoin, Ethereum. It's pretty amazing that the algorithm actually gave in the beginning of 2024 the recommendation for the Bitcoin, and we can see the big jump that he had this year. Also the Solana, the cryptocurrency that related to this specific universe. Also the S&P, of course, is said the volatility will go down, and it actually went down. And also commodities. You can find it in the website, also the 2023 report, the 2024 report. You can actually download it and see what's happened in the last year. But I'm telling you, this report, I think it's pretty amazing. We have all the performance here of all of the majority of the assets. NVIDIA, we can find WSM, DOCO, COF, and XSW, the software. It actually moved 45% this year. Interesting subsector that we're going to talk about it later. So this specific product is now available in the website and in the webinar sale, special webinar sale for $699. It's a one-time report that you buy, and you get all of what you need for 2025. if it's the best stocks from the US market, it's the best ETF, the best sectors that we're talking about usually on this webinar, if it's the level 1 GICS, level 1 GICS, level 2, the aggressive stocks, small stocks, leading indices, even interest rate. You can find the forecast of the TNX, FVX, and TYX to you, which of you that interested in the interest rate, Forex, of course, currencies, commodities, and the cryptocurrencies as well. All that in one report that you just have to buy at the beginning of the year in this specific week and hold it for the entire year. I personally really like this product. I think you can benefit a lot from him, and a lot of these stocks and assets that you can find here should be in your portfolio in 2025.
Yeah, this product is basically almost the same product as the product that we are offering to institutionals, hedge funds, family offices, banks that are utilizing the predictive algorithm. For one time during the year, we are building this product and making it available also to the retail clients. So basically, we are going to focus in this product on the long-term predictions, as Ben mentioned, highlighting the best stocks to buy, the best sectors, the best ETFs, the regions around the globe that we should focus on, small cap stocks, commodities, you name it, cryptocurrencies. But also this year we added brand new chapters to this report. We are going to add the best quantum basically quantum stocks to buy for the long term. Of course, the risk level here is higher, as Ben mentioned. And also we are going to highlight the best sectors, regions to avoid during this year. And I think it also can provide a lot of value to our clients. So this is an opportunity to basically to experience our institutional solution basically. And we have just shared in the window, in the Q&A chat window, the link for this product, right?
Yeah, the links are in the chat. You can sign in and get this report for $699, and you get over 50 assets that you can invest and be in 2025. So I think it's really, really worth it. Our second webinar sale is 1+1 for $299. You can choose 2 packages. All the packages that we talked about during this webinar for $299 per month. You can choose, of course, the quantum package, combining with the ETF or with the top 10, or tech or stocks. You have a list of packages that you can choose from, and that Yaron is sharing right now in the link in the chat. You just write down your mail. You choose 2 packages from the list, and you can get this special webinar sale for $299 per month. No commitment. You can cancel at any time. I think it's a really good price to start the year with the 2 interesting packages. And our third webinar sale is a 12-month subscription deal. You get 2 packages for $269 per month, and you get the best iPicks report for free. I think it's one of our best sales this year. You get to choose 2 packages out of the packages list that we saw earlier. Again, quantum stocks, you can get stocks, semiconductors, of course, you can get tech stocks, you can get energy stock, you can combine it with ETF, with the S&P 500, with the currency, with commodities. You can choose a lot of stocks to combine, and you get the 2025 report that we just talked about for free. So this webinar, the third webinar sale, I think is one of the more successful sales that we have this year. So feel free to join to any of those sales. I'll repeat it. First one is the 2025 report for $699, and you get all the assets that you need for 2025. If you're more of a trader and you like to switch stock every few weeks or every month, you can also take the webinar sale that we have 1+1 in $299 per month. And the third deal is 2 packages for $269 per month, and you get the best AI picks for 2025 for free. And I think it's one of the most interesting sales that we have. And of course, you're gonna ask us what we're gonna think and what do you think the best combination. So we already have a slide for that. And Yaron, you want to represent your picks?
Yeah, I'm suggesting to focus on the technology sector. And by the end of this webinar, we're going to see why, because we are going to share some interesting prediction for that. And to combine it, I would suggest to add the top 10 or the top 20 package on top of that in the 1+1 deal, since it includes also daily S&P 500 forecast that can help us to manage the risk, and also the opportunities that we see there are, let's say, have higher risk than other packages. So there is also interesting upside there. And my second choice is the S&P 500 package, which includes only S&P 500 stocks. And on top of that, I really like in the recent month, I really like the under $10 stock picks. We see some interesting recovery there and some interesting opportunities there. I think you shared in the beginning, on the beginning of this webinar, you shared several examples from Friday, and you have seen the movement as well. There are some strong signals there and some interesting movements. Of course, the risk level is higher, so it's not suitable for someone that would like to build, you know, let's say more than 5% of the portfolio and to invest more than 5% on those in this investment universe, since the risk level is high. So in order to cope with the risk, I'm not suggesting to use this package for more than 5% of the entire portfolio, let's say. What about you, Ben? What is your selection?
Well, I suggest to like balance your portfolio. If we're taking the ETF, for example, the ETF package that I find it really, really interesting, giving you the best ETFs out of the US market. Then I know which sectors from the US and generally in the world is going to be the best for the next month or 3 months. So I really like this specific package. And we can combine it with the quantum stock that we just talked about to get some more spices to the portfolio. And another choice, I think, is the tech stock or the S&P 100 stocks combined with the BAS package. I think the BAS stocks actually really performed well in the end of the year. We can see it from the beginning of October, as we saw. We saw some really significant jumps from the BAS stocks, and through the end of the year, we saw that actually this package went down a little bit, or this ETF actually went down. Some of the stocks are in a really good price, and we saw them going back up on last Friday. Stocks as Plantier, as Sophie, for example. A lot of the BAS package stock, AFRM, jumped by almost 6%. And we can see that they are not in their peak, but still the momentum is keeping on going, and we see some good movement in those stocks. So I really like this specific package, and I think this package is going to perform well this year. And of course, this universe is more volatile, so you have to manage the risk. We don't, I see some question in the Q&A. We are not buying or selling for you. We're just giving you what the algorithm thinks is the best to buy for different time frames. We are not providing any, of course, the risk environment for you guys. You have to manage the risk by yourself. We're providing the best opportunities for different time frames, and it's all up to you if you buy it or not. So those are my two, I think, combination that can work well in 2025, but you can switch the package every month. I mean, you don't have to stay with the same package every month. You can switch it once a month. You can switch the two packages and move from quantum stock to tech stock to semiconductors to energy to XLY. Any sector that you like or any universe that you like, you can switch once a month. So you can do that in both of the webinar sales. All right. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, just we are going to continue with the webinar, but just a quick summary. First deal is the institutional report for 2025, the best opportunities. It's based on the long-term prediction. So we are focusing on the most predictable assets that the AI algorithm is identifying right now. And the investment approach is buy and hold. So basically, all you need to do is to utilize this report in order to build your long-term portfolio. Now, the other products, the deal number 2, for instance, includes 2 packages that you are going to receive on a daily basis based on your preference. So if you're choosing the top ETFs on a daily basis, you are going to receive the best ETF that the AI algorithm is identifying right now. On top of that, you're going to receive the best stocks that the algorithm is picking based on your preference. The third one is combining the 2 approaches, the buy and hold and the active management approach. On one end, you're going to receive the 2025 report with the best long-term opportunities across different sectors, across different asset classes, across different regions. All you need to know in order to build a long-term portfolio, it's like a roadmap and specific with specific action items for long-term portfolio. And also to combine it with more an active approach, you're going to receive 2 packages of your choice with the best opportunities that you're going to be sent to you on a daily basis, basically.
Yep. All right. The next subject that I want to talk about is some artificial intelligence trading strategy that we use for our institutional clients. Based on those forecasts that you just saw from the S&P 500 universe, for example, we actually generated AI strategies, AI-based strategies for a different universe. In this specific examples that we're going to see, we use the GICS Level 1 and GICS Level 2 universe. As we talked about earlier, the GICS Level 1 actually includes the 11 main sector in the S&P 500. You all know XLK, XLY, XLC, and the Level 2, which actually includes the semiconductors, the software, the banks, the financial service, insurance, metals and mining, and more, as we can find here, the 24 subsectors that we have in the S&P 500. So we have generated different strategies from our packages. We can find some of the strategies here. The combined strategies, for example, it's actually combining stocks and sectors together. We can see that those the performance of the strategy from the beginning of 2020 up until the middle of 2024, and compared to the S&P 500, It's a monthly rebalance. Once a month, the algorithm chooses the best asset we should hold for the next month. And we have different strategy, such as the long-only strategy, or it's a take profit or low risk. And I'm going to focus on the stock strategy right now. 25 stocks that the algorithm picks on a monthly basis, long only, just buying the best stocks out of the S&P 500. It's focused on the S&P 500 universe only. And once a month, the algorithm is actually providing us the best 25 stocks to be in for the following month. And we can see that the result of this strategy are pretty impressive. From 2020 up until September 24, this strategy performed 227%, while the S&P made 73%. As Yaron told you earlier, this was sold to one of the biggest investment houses in Israel, Meitab, and it's actually in the Israeli stock exchange right now, this specific fund. So here we are choosing 25 stocks, and you can see the results of each and every month compared to the S&P, and we actually outperforming the S&P in the majority of the rebalances and the majority of the years, and even with better Sharpe ratio and the risk measures that are better than the S&P itself. So that's something that we're really proud of and really interesting. The second strategy that I'm going to go through, it's the top 3 GICS level 1 sector. This specific strategy is a simple strategy that picks the algorithm once a month, picks the best 3 sectors to be in. No stocks, just sectors to hold for the entire month. And we can see that this strategy actually is made some 141% for the last 5 years, while the S&P made 83%. And it's a really popular strategy among our institutional clients. And you don't have to buy stocks. You just buy those 3 sectors and hold them for the entire month. A really simple strategy, but their performance, in my opinion, it's pretty amazing. We outperform the market in any out of those 5 years that we are measure the strategy. If it's 2020, 21, 22, and even 24, outperform the market and saw some really interesting results. We can see the one of the last rebalances that we have in this strategy that took place on October 16, and the algorithm actually chose XLY, XLC, the communication, the consumer, and the industrial sector to be the leading sector for this specific month. The total return of the strategy was 5.3%, while the S&P made 2.45%. And if you're actually interested to see which sectors the algorithm actually chosen of each and every rebalance, we can find it here. The marked month are, the marked sectors, those are the sectors that the algorithm chose. And it's pretty amazing to see it like from the bird's view, what the algorithm picks in each and every rebalance, focusing on the best sectors and compared to the SPY, and we can see the portfolio return on those 5 years. So this is a very popular strategy among our institutional clients, and one of our favorite strategy that we're really proud of.
By the way, so all the returns you see here are before dividends. All those level 1 ETFs are also providing dividends. And we tried to be conservative here. We didn't took it into the consideration when we calculated the performance.
It's even higher. So if there's any institutional client in the audience today, so feel free to reach us by my mail or by the website, and we can find a good strategy for you as well. Beside those strategies, of course, we have a variety of packages that we offer our clients. if it's the crypto universe, which is pretty hot right now, everybody talks about the crypto. So we have, actually, I think it's one of the, I don't know a lot of tools that actually suggesting you which cryptocurrency to buy, and there's a lot of research about this subject, and the algorithm is actually providing the best crypto universe, best cryptocurrencies to 6 different time frames, and we have a variety of packages for crypto. So any of you that are interested in specific universe, I think you can find it very, very interesting. Of course, it's more volatile than other assets. You have to take that again into consideration, and of course, you have to treat the risk as well. But I think it's a really interesting universe, especially this year, 2025. I think the crypto world will get a lot of momentum. So we can provide, of course, different packages for the crypto universe. As you can see here, for example, the Dogecoin that was really popular, actually took place here in November 22 or November 14, and even before that on October 29. Was with the strongest signal, one of the best predictabilities, and moved by 160% from the beginning of November.
And it's before the US election. It's before Elon Musk became a president. Sorry, Donald Trump became a president of the right. So it's really, really interesting. It's really interesting to see that the AI managed to identify not only Tesla as we saw before, but also Doge, Elon Musk coin basically, as one of the best opportunities from the cryptocurrency world. And by the way, the Buzz package also includes the daily forecast for the Bitcoin. So if you're just interested in the Bitcoin prediction, you can utilize the Buzz package for that. And another quick remark, I think we didn't mention, the Buzz is not available, the Buzz package is not available in the website. I think it's available only on the webinar 1+1 deals. Also the Quantum,
yes.
By the way.
Yes, those are 2 exclusive packages for the webinar clients, and then you can get that in one of our sales that we mentioned earlier. Other packages that we have is the world indices, which I found really interesting. More than 175 world indices that the algorithm scans on a daily basis. You can find them the US indices, US leading indices, and actually world leading indices. So this is one of the packages that we also provide. If it's the fixed income universe, commodities, where we can find the predictions for the gold, for the silver, for the palladium, for the uranium, a lot of from the coffee or the wheat, which really performed pretty badly this year. And the algorithm also provide a forecast for that specific commodity. Currencies as well. If you're trading any currencies for short time frame, for 3 days, 7 days, 14 days, you can also find a package for the currencies universe. And as Yaron mentioned at the beginning, we are also providing a forecast for each and every stock, basically big stock exchange around the globe. If it's Canada, if it's European, UK, Japan, Italy, Australia, both Shanghai and Shenzhen stock exchanges, and even India, which we have a big collaboration with one of the leading brokerage firm in India, while we're providing the daily forecast for more than 100,000 Indians on a daily basis through the app or through the website. They are finding the best stocks from the Indian market. It's large cap, mid cap, or small cap. A really cool, a big collaboration that we're really proud of with Shunya platform. So we also, as mentioned, provide a prediction for almost any place around the globe. So you can use that as well. All right, so last month we're getting to the what's going to happen in the next following month.
The
But
main
before
dish.
that, the main dish is being served in a minute. But first, in the last webinar, we showed you the best sectors to be in December, and we saw it's XLY, XLC, and XLK. And I just give you a quick view of the performance of those sectors. And I think it's quite amazing. As you can see, the entire market, the entire sectors are actually painted red, then more than 3%, while those three, XLY, XLC, and XLK, are remained green in this month. So if you take 1 month from now backwards, you will find that those results in FinViz, and I think it's pretty interesting. The healthcare, by the way, which is like the weakest sector here, we can find actually went down by 5.3%. So the algorithm gave a pretty good prediction for the sector universe in December. And let's see what's going to happen in January 2025. We find it quite interesting. We're seeing XLK, XLY, and XLC is still the leading three sectors to be in for January. We can find XLB in the bottom of this specific GICS level 1 sector. So the materials, XLB, basic materials, is look quite negative. XLK, the technology, looks like the best sector to be in this month. And if we're going to the subsectors, we can find the semiconductors, which makes sense for the XLK because this subsector is related, of course, to the XLK, the semiconductor universe. We can find XSW, the software services, that actually performed 48% this year in 2024. Keep being looking good for the next month. We have the telecommunication. Again, we can find again the similarity to the level 1. If it's XLC, we can find XTL. It's the subsector in the XLC universe, and the retail also looks quite good. XRT looks quite positive. XAG, it's the healthcare equipment, also XAG, of course, also looks a little bit more positive. But in the negative side, we can find the home builders, and again, XME, it's metals and mining, which looks pretty bad for the following month. And in general, look, we might expect some volatility in the markets in the following month. Although we're seeing some clear green sectors, we can see that the majority of the sectors are pretty red. So we have to take that into consideration as well. And let's take a quick look for the indices universe. By the way, this is the indices package. Here we can find the semiconductors, the stocks, which looks pretty green for the next month. NASDAQ 100 as well. We can find NASDAQ, the index is leading the forecast and looks pretty good in the following month. Network and WX also looks pretty strong for a while now. We see some volatility as I mentioned earlier, VXN and VIX. VXN is the volatility on the NASDAQ, and VIX is the volatility on the S&P 500. European universe, European stock exchange, such as the DAX, looks also quite positive after being red for a while. We see some some positive movement in Europe, but not all of it. You can find European banks here in pretty red colored. Those two indices are the Chinese stock exchange, which looks a little bit more reddish right now. We can find the RMZ, which is the World Real Estate Index, also painted red. Housing sector, Nifty PSU, which is the financial sector in India, also would suggest to avoid it. Dow Jones transportation also quite negative. The oil services in the US also looks not that good in the eyes of the algorithm for the following month. Yaron, any notes?
Well, now you see why I chose the technology sector. Where I was suggesting to focus on the technology sector, as mentioned before. So technology and also Nasdaq 100 could be a very interesting choice for the upcoming month. And as said, also the semiconductors, which is also part of the selection in the 1+1 deals and not available in the website, as well as the networking, could be a very good and interesting selection for the upcoming month. Regarding the volatility, we see some decrease actually in the volatility level. It used to be stronger. There is some decrease. We need to monitor it in order to see if there is a decline there. I would suggest, as you said, to avoid the banking sector in Europe. China is not that attractive right now. Brazil is not that attractive, in our opinion, and also the housing sector. There are better opportunities than the housing sector right now in the US market.
Yeah, and we've been seeing that for a while now. I think more than 3 months that the real estate and home builders and the housing sectors are not looking that good. Right now, it's they're gonna stay that way. So this is the map. By the way, Tel Aviv 90 looks pretty good. If some of you are interested in the Israeli index. So this is the current map for the next month. And of course, it can change because we're in the beginning of the year. A lot of forces are moving in the beginning of the year, but right now, this is the map for the next month, and you can get it again by those 3 options that we offered you. If it's the 2025 report that holds all what you need for 2025, all the assets you should hold, if it's stocks, ETF, indices, Forex, commodities, cryptos, indices, aggressive stocks, conservative stocks, to hold for 2025. You get it just for $699. Generally, it's cost $750. You have a webinar discount for this specific product for the next 24 hours. And those 2 webinar sales are also available for the next 24 hours. It's 1+1 in $299 per month. You can choose one of the interesting packages that we are presented in this specific webinar. And if it's the Buzz package of the Quantum package that exclusively belong to this specific 2 sales, you cannot find it in the website and in the package page. In this specific webinar sale, you have no commitment. You can cancel it anytime. You pay $299 a month, and you get 2 packages that you can switch once a month. And the 3rd webinar sale is a 12-month subscription for $269 per month, and you'll get the 2025 report for free. And I think it's a really good price for what you're getting. And you can combine again all the packages that we talked about with the long time recommendations that you get in the 2025 report.
As you can see, the 2025 stock market forecast is the favorite product of Ben, and I have to admit this is one of my favorite products, if not the best one, because it's quite aligned with the capabilities of the algorithm. The algorithm has the capabilities, the predictability of the long-term prediction are much higher than the shorter one. And we built here a product around it. We built a product that taking advantage of the algorithm abilities to identify long-term opportunities in the best way. So I do also suggest to take advantage of this interesting product and to combine it with any other choices that is available here, basically.
All right, so I see there's a lot of questions.
Wow.
And so we're gonna try answer some of them. Just a quick note, some people tried to get into the WhatsApp link and it said it didn't work. So you can do it by scanning this specific barcode. So I hope it will work by this barcode. And also you can find in the website how to join our WhatsApp interesting community group, which we're gonna post the Max 7 forecast for the next 2 weeks. So tonight, so you gotta do it today. And let's go to the questions.
Okay, let's go. So while we're answering the questions, all the deals are available in the Windows chat. Okay, Ben, I'm going to start from the beginning. You're going to start from the bottom, and we are going to meet at some point. Okay?
I hope.
Okay, how will NVIDIA will do in 2025? Well, it's a great question, and you can find the answer in the report, I believe, right, Ben?
Yeah.
So this is regarding NVIDIA. NVIDIA is also one of the favorite stocks of Ben Ruby.
Okay. A lot of people ask about, I see it's, I saw this question around like 8 times. If we suggest to do some stop loss or take profit or strategies by how to trade. So basically we provide the opportunities, and you should handle them as you think and as fits to your risk measurements, because some of you, I believe, have higher levels of risk. Some of you have are more conservative, so we cannot suggest you to put stop loss in potential or some of the stocks, or find you the best price to get in or do the stop loss. All the trading is actually it's depend on you, and you should do it by yourself. Again, it's also I can tell you from my past and as working as a financial advisor, stop loss are different from asset to asset. For example, you cannot put 5% stop loss on a cryptocurrency because it's basically has high volatility on a daily basis. So it's probably that you're gonna close your position pretty quickly. So it's depend on the assets and depend on your risk level. Generally, you should give the algorithm some space to move in. So I don't have any specific stop loss that I advise you to do, but again, it's a good thing that you should use the stop loss. It's depend on the asset and depend on your risk level. So I cannot tell you exactly what to do about it. But stop loss as a way of trading is it's a good thing to use, and you should use it, I think, in most of the cases.
Great. I see many questions about some different Magnificent Seven stocks, and also some stocks that belong to the BAS package. We have answered it during this webinar. It's also going to be part of the 2025 report. So stay tuned to the report, and you will get all the answer to the Mag 7 as well. Best sectors, of course, it's part of the report. Quantum companies, yeah, I think we dedicated some time about, and we spoke about the quantum companies as well. Okay. Let's talk about is I Know First Fund is available in the US right now? Not yet, but we are working on it. It's available in other stock exchanges around the globe. Is there a range for the signal, Ben?
Sorry, again?
People asking about the range of the signals.
Yeah, basically, the signal itself, it's again our internal index. It moves from infinity to minus infinity, so there is not a specific range. But you should look at that for the signal as a ranking system that gives you the best asset or the best potential asset. It's supposed to move with highest potential to one that's supposed to move downgrade in a higher potential, or you should short on. And there is not exactly a range, but again, you should look at the entire investment universe and see from the specific from your specific universe which asset has the best signal and which has the low signal or negative signal, and by that focusing on the highest signal. But again, give more weight to the predictability filter. The predictability indicator is really important, even more than the signal. So try to focus on the best predictability levels and then filter the best signals. It will improve your stocks choose in all the time frames.
Okay. There is a question from Carlo from Switzerland. I'm a day trader. Is it possible to put my list of my daily portfolio on the AI platform and 1 hour before the opening, and to get a daily forecast before the opening? Yes, it's possible, Carlo. Please send us an email and we will send you. It's possible to receive custom forecast. Please feel free to send us an email and we will send you all the details. Do you have Mag 7 package, Ben? Yes, we do. Basically, it's part of the 1+1 deals as well. You can choose Mag 7 if you would like to focus. We spoke about quantum. I see a lot of questions about quantum. Is it possible to change the packages with the annual subscription, Ben?
Yeah, you can change both of the packages every month in the annual subscription, and as well as the monthly subscription. You can change both of the packages on a monthly basis.
Okay. Do you have prediction for Russell 1000 stocks?
Yeah, we have a prediction for the Russell 1000, 2000, and 3000. And Russell also I think is going to be one of the interesting indices in 2025.
Okay. I'm not reading the compliments, Ben, because I don't want you to be, to feel, yeah, exactly. I'm trying to work with your ego. So, but you're getting a lot of compliments here. Guys, we had a very interesting webinar, I believe, and very good questions. So thank you for the feedback, and thank you for all your questions today. If there are additional questions that we didn't manage to answer during this webinar, please feel free to send us an email. You can find all the details in our website. All
Yeah,
the deals
thank you,
are
guys.
going, yeah, all the deals are going to be available during the next 24 hours. Yes, Ben, sorry for interrupting.
No, I was interrupting. I just want to say that thank you to all to join us on our monthly webinar. And of course, we hope we have a green 2025. And we see you guys next month, sorry.
Okay, thank you very much for the good, nice webinar, Ben.
Thank
And
you, Yaron.
yeah, see you next time. Thank you very much.
Bye, guys.
Bye bye, guys.